On. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so any questions? Uh, yeah, individually you send one questions to me relating to the discussing the questions. Okay, fine. I will try to discuss in the last class. Uh, few questions, few questions I will discuss. Definitely, I will discuss. Dear, don't worry. So, no, Biswajit. You are asking, sir. You mean base year effect change according to market demand? No, you take in different way. Uh, Somdatta, you are asking, sir, after how many years we should change base year? So, the base year, any base year for national income accounting, or any other macroeconomic variables, there should be around on an average, because earlier you take the 2004 and 5 was the base year, but the CSO, that time CSO and other organizations, they were in the perception that on an average 5-6 years they can change it, like 6-7 years on an average they take. But after that they must get a particular year which registered as normal year, because macroeconomic variables are showing the normal growth, everything is normal. Then that particular year you can take as a base year, because base year is the basis, you are making a base to compare any future changes. Okay, suppose a base year is it's increasing, then you can say yes. In compared to base year, something increasing, that you can say I'm growing and I'm developing. Different macroeconomic variables I'm talking about. But suppose a base year you are choosing, that base year is already registered that particular year the recessionary effect. Already all macroeconomics value was very low. And if you take that as a base year, then any small fluctuation in the or any small changes in the economy will reflect higher changes in the economy. Clear? And if you take boom period as a base year, then even the larger changes will not reflect in that. So concept is that that particular year, what you are choosing as a base year, it should be normally, but generally it should be the 5 to 6 7 years, as per the policy matter is concerned. What is the perception of the institutions to change it? But again, question is that really you are getting that normal year or not? Because 2008 and 9, around that year, the institution was thinking about to take the new base year. But in 2008 we faced the financial crisis, and it's I mean, we not the USA faced the financial crisis, its implication is all over the world, and we faced the recessionary effect, so that was not possible to take it. 2011-12, that year was relatively, I can say, relatively better, so you have chosen it. After a few years, again you face the pandemic one, again, which is it's not possible to take in the coming few years as a base year. Maybe after 1-2 years you can choose it, but again the situation is same. So you are comparing, you keeps going on that. So if the in coming few years, if you're getting a normal year, so there is a possibility they can change the base year. So these are the basically overview percentages. As the hard and fast, you have to take like 5 years, 10 years, 6 years. It is not there. You have to choose the next base year, which are also the normal year. Okay, and you're asking, ki, sir, Biswajit, you asked, sir, you mean base year effect change according to market? No, no market demand. Base year means ki what are the changes you are consider the base year? what are the changes is there in the base year when you are shifting from one year base to the other year base year. So many changes is going to happen. Market you are writing because I just given you one of the examples. Suppose the products are new product has come in the market, they started contributing significantly, so you included their price, included their quantity, and other other product which is just become outdated, you removed it. But problem is that this is not in case of it is not the same case in case of the other index what you are forming for growth rate, for inflations. For that also you are making the index, and for that you are choosing the base year. So depending on the parameters what you're choosing it, but whatever things you are changing into for the new year, I mean new base year. So other macroeconomic variables, even for the 3 years I have chosen this example. If suppose other macroeconomic variables remain same for base year this and base year this, but base year itself change, and due to that some changes you done it. And if any changes you observe in these 3 years, you can say it is due to the base year effect. When you change the base year, that effect is visible. Clear? Okay. Fine, dear. So let's move to the next point in industry. Okay. So now you just write the 8 next core industries. Core industries. And there are 8 core industries. 8 core industries. Clear? Core industries means if you really want to develop the other industries, then development of these industries is the basic criteria. Okay, if you are able to develop these industries, then only you are able to develop the other industries. So this industry is termed as the core industries. Clear? So there are 8 industries in India considered as the core industries. If we have to develop, then only we can develop our growth and development, or other industries it can develop. So it's basically core industries. Now, if you see the last several years, I mean last few years, like take the 10 years of PT paper, then one of the very patent questions, and what is the trend they are asking, commission is asking one of the question, they will give you 4 and 5 industries and they can ask you one question, which one is not the core industry? Or in other way, they can ask you what are the core industries? They can give you few, they are not core industries. So you have to choose. Second trend is that they are asking in the PT paper, if suppose 8 they given the few industries out of 8 industries, and they can ask you as per their contributions. So core industry means what? Their product is also included in IIP. So once we are taking the index of industrial product, and separately all 8 products index we formulates. So how much contribution made by the different industries in the total output in the country? So according to their contributions, you have to remember, sometimes they asked as per their contributions of the core industries in industrial output, okay, arrange in ascending order or descending order, choose your right answer. So first of all, you have to know to solve these questions. First of all, you have to know, okay, what are the core industries, number one. Second, their contributions. So you please write all 8 industries, and in the bracket you write the contribution. There is a weightage assigned to them, and that is a contribution you can say. But you are saying about within the core product, core industrial product, right? There are 8 core industries. There are 8 core industries. There are 8 core industries that covered in the index of core industries. Core industry. First you write coal. Yeah, first you write coal. And in bracket you write 10 point. Yeah, in bracket you write 10.33. 10.33. Yeah, 10.3. This 10.33 is the weight they are contributing. Okay, right, coal. 10.33 within the core industries. Okay. Next is the crude oil. Next you write crude oil. Crude oil. Okay, crude oil. Crude oil contributes around 8.98. 8.98. Okay. Coal, crude oil. Now then natural gas, 6 natural gas. Natural gas. Natural gas contributes 6.88. Okay. So coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products. Refinery products. Refinery products, and refinery products contributes 28.04. Okay, so coal, crude oil, natural oil, refinery products. Then fertilizers is still fertilizers. Fertilizers. Then steel. So fertilizers contributes 2.63 and steel is contributing 17.92. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is steel, and after that is cement and electricity. Cement and electricity. Cement and electricity. Okay. Cement contributes 5.4, 19.9. 5.4, 19.9. Yes, 19.9. So now what you will do, you don't need to remember all these numericals. No. Just on the basis of this value, you arrange it in ascending or descending order, that you remember, because even in the new data comes and there is a small changes is there, but more or less trend is going to be same. Trend is going to be same because difference are really very larger, so you can see they will manage it. So you have to remember these 8 core industries: coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement and electricity. Okay, so these are the core industries. Please write. So again I am telling you, numericals, it is immaterial for you, it's not possible. So just seeing the numerical, you keep in the ascending descending order or ascending order, and that's you remember. Okay, so if they are framing the question on that, you are easily able to solve it. Okay, now change the para, you write the base year of the index of the base year of the index of 8 core industries. 8 core industries has been revised from the year 2004-5 to 2011-12 to 2011-12 from April 2017 from April 2017 2017. Okay, in line with the new base year of index of industrial production. Index of industrial production. Full stop, right? The revised 8 core industries have a combined weight of 40.3 40.3, 40.3%, 40.3% in the 40.3%, 40.3% in the IIP, 40.3% in the IIP, in the IIP. Clear, dear? So you have to remember, you can get some ideas about that. Probably they are asking if you solve last 10 years, you can get it. Clear, dear? Now, in next very important and importance is MSME, this sector, MSME. And really you have to prepare good notes on this MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, because just you think, what is the one of the policy major what is the major issue prevailing in the country? One is the jobless economic growth, and jobless economic growth main reason is lack of a strong industrial base. To some extent we are facing the constraint for developing the industries. So when you are going for industrializations, we cannot adopt the policy like what we adopted in socialist pattern of development. So our policy is now focusing more on MSME. So you have to know why government of India is focusing on more MSME. Even state government is encouraging that. Why MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises? So there are some really positive things in the MSME policies if you are going to get success. So not only you are going to industrialize your country, but also you are going to solve the problem of jobless economic growth. If these are prevailing in the country, then it's not possible to solve our issues like the jobless economic growth, higher level of unemployment, because higher level of unemployment means higher incidence of poverty in the country. Okay, and lack of industrial means you are importing more from other countries, which leads to your current account deficit, BOP pressures, forex reserve is declining, domestic currency keeps depreciating, that's again it's affecting your inflation, etc. You can connect it. So MSME we are focusing more because MSME relatively can create more job opportunities in the country in compared to large scale industries. Okay, so MSME, there are some advantages. One, they can create more job opportunities, number one. Second one, MSME relatively needs, okay, relatively I'm telling you, relatively less amount of capital. Third one, you can say ki MSME, if you are developing, then MSME is going to create competitive environment in the country. Okay, if there is a competition among so many producers, then price will be perfectly, market determined price, and that should be the reasonable price if it's decided competitively in the market. Okay, so reasonable price is again the competitions leads among the MSMEs the research and development, because each and every enterprise will prefer to bring new products in the market, and for that you have to go for research and development, you have to bring the new and innovative products in the market, then only you are going to maintain your products demand in the market, because you have to understand your market is not the domestic market in the sense that only the domestic producers are producing. No dear, you are facing the other producers, they are the international producers, so you have to compete with them, so you have to go for innovative products and new products, then only you are going to compete it. Next point, you can say if you are developing MSME, so for development of MSME you not need a particular area, not you need the particular, like the jute industries we can develop only in the West Bengal. Okay, because the other infrastructure it's available in the West Bengal. But micro, small, medium industries, okay, you can develop in the different part of the country, different part of the states. So regional disparities you are able to decrease. Okay, and you can bring more all states in the parity of industrialization. So keeping in mind all these benefits, the government is focusing on MSME. And one more thing is that empirical evidences of some countries, like I given you example like the China you take, South Korea you take, Taiwan you take, Singapore you take, they excelled better in this field. So if they can excel, then why not us? So we are giving more focus on that, and we can get industrialized through the development of MSME industries, and we can solve our issues. Okay. So recently the government changed. I mean, in few years back, the government changed before pandemic, the government changed the MSME definitions. As MSME Act 2006, it's defining that in 2006, that definition defining that MSME is defined on the basis of only investments. So basis of classification, whether this unit of production is micro or small or medium, it was totally depending on the amount of investment in plant machineries, excluding land and building. So if you leave the land amount and the building amount, how much you invested, excluding that, other investments is you can calculate, and that is going to decide the criteria for micro, small and medium enterprises. But later on, government changed these classifications to define micro, small and medium. Okay, that is they introduced the one, that is a turnover. Let me complete first. On the basis of turnover, why the government going to started defining the micro, small and medium enterprise on the turnover? Because if investment is the only criteria, then so many small units or micro units, or they were not interested to go for modernizations. They are getting problems for modernizations, bringing new machine other, because amount of investment is going to change. But suppose you change and your status change. So the moment status change, the other conditions, it's going to impose on you as per your status. I mean, whether micro, small and medium. So suppose you modernize your plant, your category has changed just for modernizations, okay, adopting the new technology and the investment. But as far as selling is concerned in the market, still you are able to sell the same value or some same volume of output. So the industry, I mean, that unit is going to be affected due to the change in the status if they are not changing the volume of production. So government, to give this freedom to the units, the government started defining the micro, small, medium on the basis of turnover. If your turnover keeps increasing, then only the status will change. So it's a good thing. If you are taking the turnover, then the units are allowed to invest, go for modernizations, go for updations of the technology, okay, which is really good for the industries. Because if you're not modernizing, if you're not bringing the new technology in your productive activities, then you can't produce the advanced product at the reasonable price. It is a very basic criteria. So make more competitive these units, the government has changed the definition. But what the government done it after these things, there was also pressure some units wanted, it's a good for some industries go for the investment amount. So government adopted we are going to define both turnover also and investment also. So today we are defining on the basis of both turnover plus amount of investment. Okay, this is the latest one. So please write, all of you. MSME are considered, the MSMEs are considered the backbone of most economies globally. Full stop, right? MSME has been recognized as a major contributor to GDP, MSME has been recognized as a major contributor to GDP and a stimulator for economic growth and a stimulator for economic growth and a stimulator for economic growth. Okay, right. The sector plays, these sectors play a crucial role in providing, crucial role in providing, in providing employment opportunities, employment opportunities, comma, entrepreneurship, development of entrepreneurship, development of entrepreneurship, comma, comma, creating competitive environment, creating competitive environment, comma, promoting research and development, promoting research and development, and bringing new and innovative products, and bringing new and innovative products, in new and innovative products, that is innovations, that is innovation, full stop. Right, right. Growth, development of MSME, development of MSME, development of MSME leads economic growth, leads economic growth through innovations, through innovation. If suppose it's a working, okay, right. This sector also complements, these sectors also complements the large industries, also complements large industries as ancillary units, as ancillary units, as ancillary units. What do you mean by ancillary units? Because if you take suppose a large industry develop at a particular area, take the example of your any plant, Maruti plant you take, you go to the Jamshedpur's, Tata's the largest scale industries, you can just see that. But if you go to the Jamshedpur, then you will get one idea is that okay, so many small industries, so many small units, they developed around that industries. Because large industries, they are not producing each and every small parts for their industrial requirement. So basically they are buying small parts from the other industry. They are basically, their industry's nature is the small, micro and medium enterprises. They are purchasing from that. So what is happening? Okay, they are catering the need, they are just meeting the need of the large industries. Clear? And these industries are known as, that developed is known as the ancillary units. Clear? So you read in that? And these sectors also complement large industries as ancillary units in fulfilling their business requirements, in fulfilling their business requirements and needs, and also contributes to the socio-economic development of the country, socio-economic development of the country, and achieving inclusive growth, and achieving inclusive growth. Why you are saying that? Because see, MSME you can develop in different parts of the country. Clear? Number one. So even regional disparities you are going to maintain, I mean regional disparities you are going to decrease. Second thing, MSME, these are the manufacturing units. They are also going to create the job opportunities of low skilled labor and unskilled labor. If job opportunities created for the unskilled workers or low skilled workers, it means you are providing the benefits of this industrialization of higher economic growth and development to the masses of the economy. And when the benefits reaching to the each and every one of the economy, then you can simply term yes, we achieve the inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is the concept where we are saying that each and every person of the economy should get the benefits of higher economic growth and development, plus they will also participate in the economic activities of the country. So allow the participations, provide the benefits, then we only termed it yes, we achieved the inclusive growth. Okay. See, providing only benefits like you given the food and other things, it is not the inclusive growth. Just they are surviving. The benefits they will reach if they are participating in this economy, they are contributing in the economy and also getting all the benefits, not all in the sense what is the required required amount, they should get the benefits. Then we can say yes, we achieve the inclusive growth rate. Clear? If you take the example of China, the China's GDP, a significant amount contributed by the MSME. So that's the just seeing that we are also focusing on the focusing on the MSME keyers. If they can excel, why not India? Okay. Now here I am writing category of MSME. So you can write micro, you can write small, you can write medium. Okay, first you write one line. I think you write one line first. Right. In India, Jaffer, write it, then we will tell you. In India, MSMEs are defined on the basis of MSMEs are defined on the basis of investment in plant and machineries, excluding land and building, okay, and also on the basis of turnover, and also on the basis of turnover. Fine, dear. Now you write that is the capital, you can say, on the basis of investment means capital, you can say how much capital you invested, and one is the turnover. So turnover, it's maybe criteria. So when you're talking about on the basis of turnover, micro one, so 1 crore is the, suppose investment is 1 crore. Investment means what? Total amount of capital you invested in your machineries and plant, 1 crore, 10 crore and 50 crore. 10 crore and 50 crore. It is the criteria. Any unit, if you can say investment in this unit is 1 crore, other than land area and the building, so that that unit is known as the micro. More than 1 crore, okay, more than 1 crore, till your 10 crores, you can say it is come under the small units, and more than 10 crores until your 50 crores, it's come under your medium enterprises. Clear? And when you're talking about turnover, 550 to 50, 550 to 50. This is crore, crore, and this is crore. It's a turnover 5 crore. If your any units, if yeah, any units, if turnover is 5 crore, okay, so it's come under the micro, and if its turnover is 50 crores, then it's a small, and more than 50, but to 50 crores, you can just term it as a medium one, and more than 250, then it will come to the large one. So this way we define, the government of India defines the MSME. Okay, so at least you should know this, and contributions you have to remember. Yes, okay, how it is going to provide the benefits to the MSME. Sometimes they are asking this. Clear? You written this, all of you? Now, next, after that, because these are the, after just knowing this current situations, we have to go to the focus to the mainly the policies through which government is trying to develop this. So I prefer to connect you from the earlier policies, so that, because see, today you are going to change any policy or bring in the new policy, you can only compare if you are knowing the earlier policies. So always you prepare in a very comparative manner, comparative way. Then they are asking about the how this policy is going to provide you benefits. They are going to solve the issues what was prevailing earlier. So if you're knowing the comparative things, then you can better explain this. So just I'm going to give you overview. You should know just some things about that, but your focus should be Make in India and onwards, because generally they are framing questions after the Make in India and onwards. And recent conditions, you have to focus on that in industries. And for that, please read, after knowing that, the chapter from the economy survey, industry chapter. But I suggest you, once you go through economy survey, and maybe we are going to summarize it, that will be enough for your PT paper. Okay, but when you're going to write mains, dear, it's my humble request to all of you, at least you read one chapter at least once. Go through the way of analysis and the analysis about the economy. It will really pay you when you're going to write your mains. Okay. So I'm just going starting from the very early one, industrial policies in India. In this industrial policies in India. Okay. One is the Industrial Policy Resolution 1948. You can start from here. Industrial Policy Resolution 1948. Okay, one is Industrial Policy Resolution 1948. Okay, then Industries Development and Regulation Act 1951. Industries Development (1951). Major policy I'm writing here. Yes, dear. Please write all of you. I just explained from this industrial policy from the very starting one, but I'm not going to modify. So many amendments happen meanwhile, but measure I just considering it because for the GS, if you're knowing at least this much, then you will not get any problems in industries. And most of the question they are asking about the conditions prevailing in the country and policy of the government. So if you are knowing overview, I mean these things, then you are able to write better. Please all of you write this. Clear dear? Okay. Now, just go step by step. Like when you're talking about first industrial policy resolution 1948, so just you check कि just after independence, we started regulating industries, but we never made any policy related to services, and that is the one of the reason I discussed with you. कि service sector was never controlled in the economic reforms, and no earlier services sector even it was not under the tax net. Later on, after economic reforms, you started imposing the services. And today you can see that we given the parity between the goods and services and we implemented the GST. Clear. So you started regulating it. The first industrial policy resolution 1941, 48, you implemented. And under that, initially whole industries, all industries in India, you categorize in 4 categories, but later on 3 categories. One few industries you kept under the directly under the government of India, directly under the government or government departments, like take the railways. So yes, some industries kept directly under the government. Some industries you allowed to only develop under the public sector enterprises. Yeah, like steel plant, you take the example. But you can say that Kisa, Tisco is there, which is in Jamshedpur also, you take the example. Tisco is there. But Tisco developed before independence. So government just given it, just continue. But any new industries, if they are coming in this area, it will be only developed under the public sector units. That is under the government, you can say, but not directly under the control, under the public sector units. Clear? And some industries in the left where the private sectors also they can allow, but through the license, the private sector was allowed, and government sector also can continue, but private sector is allowed. Okay, but government wanted to control the industrial development in the country, because government they don't want to. I mean earlier the government I mean the reason was कि government earlier that was against of economic concentrations to few hands. So most of the major industries they kept under the government. So they don't earlier they were not preferring the monopoly of the economic power, But today, yes, scenario has changed. Now government strategy has changed. So you can say that yes, they are going to create the economic power in the few hands. But pattern of development has changed. You are based on the market mechanism, capital pattern of development you adopted. But earlier the socialist pattern was there. So in 1951, you enacted an act which is known as the Industries Development and Regulation Act. Basically, you can put in the bracket Development and Regulation Act. Industries Act 1951, and this act was for development and regulations. So you are saying that na, ki in India industries are not able to develop because licensing Raj or Inspector Raj. So in India, basically this act, 1951 Act, it is responsible for licensing Raj and Inspector Raj. But yeah, under this act, it was made compulsory that anyone who wants to establish a unit need to take the license from the government or concerned department, but you have to take the license for that. So the government made it compulsory for industrial units. See dear, if you go and just see behind this, then aim was not to act as impediments. The act what the main aim was or intention of the policy was economic power should not concentrate to few persons and industries should develop to each and every part of the country. Again, I'm telling you, intention was economic power should not concentrate in the few hands, but and second, industries should develop in the different part of the countries. That was the main intention of this policy. But you are knowing that the intention of the policy was really very good, but again, when you're coming as far as implication is concerned, now you are getting in the different results. So what you have seen that government was suppose someone is coming to me asking to give me that license for set up a unit. So being the issuing authority, my aim was under that act, okay, I can allow different business houses, and we can allow different industries to different business houses, so that few business houses cannot control their whole industries. And second objective was, okay, industries I should allow to develop in different part of the country, different part, not only the few states, they should get the benefits. That was the main aim. But finally, what we are observing in India, only few states got industries and only few business houses controlling all the business activities. Clear? So I request you please write something about this so that you can connect it. Yes, what is the industrial licensing and intention was not good. So just you write about few lines about this Industries Development Regulation Act 1951. So it will help you to understand. Write it. To control and regulate the process, because this is the starting point. Every time, every article, if you read, why not we industrialize, then this reference always you are going to get it. So you should know a little bit more, then you can connect it when you're writing your answer. Okay, please. To control and regulate the process of industrial development, in the country, an act was passed by the parliament. In October 1951. And the act came into force on 8th May 1952. 8th May 1952. Right. The main objective of the act was to regulate. The main objective of the act was to regulate and control industrial investments was to regulate and control industrial investment and production, comma, protection of small enterprises, small enterprises, and prevention of economic monopoly power, in the country. Prevention of economic monopoly power in the country. Full stop, right? Under these provisions, registration and licensing of industrial undertakings. Under these provisions, registration and licensing of industrial undertakings where necessary, full stop, right? It was a starting point of licensing Raj in India. It was the starting point of licensing Raj in India. Now, dear, after that, we implemented the industrial policy in 1956. Go back to your economic reforms, that Indian planning I discussed with you. The second 5-year plan in India was based on, focused on industrialization. Clear? You remember that? And who made the policy? Mahalanobis model. Mahalanobis basically based on the Mahalanobis model. So they basically implemented the Mahalanobis. We implemented the Mahalanobis model, and just a minute. Just give me 1 minute, huh? 1 minute only. Yes. So you go back to the second 5-year plan that we discussed with you. The second 5-year plan basically it was based on Mahalanobis model, where we focused on basic and heavy industries. So on the basis of Mahalanobis model, we implemented industrial policy 1956 in India. And this industrial policy 6, several occasions, few times, three times, okay, twice and thrice, this amended, but more or less the main framework remains same, and that framework was as per the socialist pattern of development. But that's we already discussed in 1991 we faced the BOP crisis, and then we started the implementing the economic reforms. So after 1956 we changed the whole structure and we implemented new industrial policy NIP in 1991. So in 1991 we made the industrial policy, and which is known as the new industrial policy NIP, and that implemented in 1991 in Indian economy. Clear? And then it is a turning point in the country from socialist pattern of industrializations to the capitalist pattern of industrializations. Simple. We started giving responsibility. We started encouraging the private sectors to come and participate in industries. And earlier, the main aim was, government will develop the all industries, maximum industries. But we started giving this new industry policy we implement 1991. After implementation of industrial policy in 1981, and you are knowing that new industrial policy also we have taken so many steps like privatizations. We allowed the private parties. Government also started allowing the private parties in the sectors where earlier they were dominating, either directly or under the public sector units. So government reserved earlier in public sector units, they removed from the list. It means private parties can also participate in these sectors. So, but in 2011, that's a government realized that we are not able to increase the share of manufacturing in GDP. Because any country, if they are not contributing and not significantly contributing in the manufacturing, there is always issue of creation of job opportunities. And if enough amount of job opportunities, if you are not able to create, then what the India is facing right now, this problem, any country of the world is going to face. So India is still facing that jobless economic growth, high level of unemployment, poverty incidence, high incidence of poverty. So you can say that. So government introduced a new policy which is known as the National Manufacturing Policy, NMP, National Manufacturing Policy in 2011. They implemented in 2011, and main target was to increase the share of the manufacturing in India. And for that the government of India, the government, you can say, the government implemented under NMP one scheme which is known as a National Investment and Manufacturing Zone. NIMZ is National Investment and Manufacturing Zone. And manufacturing zone. Okay. And what was the policy of National Manufacturing Policy? Because that time also the manufacturing sector was contributing around 16%, 16. So under National Manufacturing Policy, the government made the target that manufacturing should contribute around 25% of the GDP. This was the target, that is the manufacturing. Yeah. Manufacturing should contribute the 25% of the GDP. That was the target under the NMP, new National Manufacturing Policy, NMP. And under this policy, the government started establishing NIMZ. NIMZ is the National Investment and Manufacturing Zone, just like your SEZ, just like your SEZ. You have seen that in SEZ, the government is developing so many benefits, the advanced technology, all that's just like the cluster way. All the things they are developing in a particular area so that export can be increased. And here under NIMZ, the main aim is to develop a particular zone, and main target is to increase the production, and mainly production of manufacturing. So main target was there, and NIMZ was started establishing by the government. Okay, so this was there, and main aim was to encourage the manufacturing. Okay, because if this sector is developing, then only you are able to create more job opportunities and you can make your country industrialized. But again, after that, after so many steps government has taken, then government realized in 2014 that there are some issue. Even after implementations of so many policies, we are not able to perform in this front. So you can see that in September 2014, government implemented a scheme which is known as Make in India scheme or Make in India program. So Make in India program, if you see, which is implemented by the government in September 2014, and which is the heart point of the industrial policy. So Make in India is basically concept developed by the government. Okay, now we start manufacturing in India. We start producing in India. So India keeps importing from other nations, and that is the reason we are knowing as the import-based country. So if we want to relieve ourselves or we have to decrease our reliance on imports, we have to start producing in domestic economy. So Make in India policy, remember, it is not only for manufacturing. It includes three: manufacturing, services and infrastructure. So all the threes are the target, but particularly it is for manufacturing, but it also includes services plus infrastructure. So Make in India policy having four major pillars, or you can say four major pillars of Make in India. And one of the first pillar the government identified and government implemented: ease of doing business. Yes, ease of doing business is the one of the pillar of Make in India. Government recognized that one of the main factor that's is acting as an impediment, or it's only one of the factor that we have to focus on that if really we want to industrialize our economy. That is ease of doing business. So this ease of doing business started in 2014. Okay, 2014. And recently on 1st Feb 2022, I'm talking about last year. Last year means for budgetary year 2022-23, the government of India announced ease of doing business part 2. So last year, not this year budget, that 1st Feb 2023, no. Last year budget, government announced that now we are implementing ease of doing part 2. It means government is realizing that we have to do so many things for bringing more competitive environment and conducive environment for the business. Okay, so one of the things. Second, new mindset, new industries they have chosen under the Make in India. Okay, new process they implemented under the Make in India. So these are basically pillars of Make in India program. And to get the Make in India program, the government has implemented so many policies like Startup India, Stand Up India, Mudra Yojana, MSME policies. This government is basically implemented to industrialize our economy. Clear? So in this way, in the very step by step, you have to remember. But as far as focus is concerned, true, something we should know, like if suppose, because even today you are going to read any article related to industries, several times you are getting licensing Raj. Okay, so you have to know the origin. What is licensing Raj, and what was the motive behind it? That is one of the reason I am telling you. The policies, as far as policies in India, even in the past implemented, intention can't be wrong, but there may be possible the implications, the way of implications may result in different results. But intention is always very good one. So sometimes we quote, policy is really very good. The only problem is the implementations. Clear? So just you write few lines about this, and some policies we are going to discuss with you, and I'm going to dictate you. So please read that much, and also you read the booklets which is given to you. Okay, just read it. So other parts you can get it. And clear? So please write, all of you. I am starting from this economic reforms. Right. Right, all of you. Right. Right. Industrial policy since 1991, industrial policy since 1991, okay, has been facilitating the industrial development, full stop, right? Industrial licensing, because that they also discussed in the economic reforms under new industrial policy, we abolish this industrial licensing. Most of the industries is out of the licensing provisions. Only 5 industries we kept under the licensing provision. And why these 5 industries? Because these industries are related to environmental concerns. These industries are related to your you can say security reasons. Right. Industrial policy since 1991 has been facilitating the industrial development, full stop, right? Industrial licensing has been abolished for most of the industries, and there are only 5 industries, at present where an industrial license is currently required, because these industries are related to security of the nation, comma, strategic sector and environmental concern. Clear? Right. Full stop. These industries includes first you write electronic aerospace and defense sector. Defense equipment you write, not sector. Electronic, aerospace and defense equipment. Okay. Next point you write industrial explosives. Next one is industrial explosives. Clear? Next you write specified hazardous chemical. Specified hazardous chemicals. Clear? Next you write cigars, comma cigarettes, tobacco and tobacco substitutes. Cigar, comma cigarettes, comma tobacco and tobacco substitutes. Okay. And fifth one, alcoholic drinks. So now you can imagine that if the government is going to remove the license, you can imagine what will happen. Okay, fine here. So only these 5 industries, due to the security, due to the national threat, due to strategic sector or environmental concerns, they kept under the license. All other industries are removed from the licensing provisions. That is a strategy that started under the new industrial policy NIP 991, and that is visible. Change the para, you write consistent with the policy of liberalization, of domestic industry of domestic industry. The numbers of industries consistent with the policy of liberalization consistent with the policy of liberalization of domestic industry the numbers of industries reserved for public sector have also been reduced full stop. Right, at present only two industrial sectors and two industrial sectors are reserved for public sector. Okay, first you write atomic energy, and next one you write railway operations. These two are still under the government public sectors. See, railway operations, here there is debate is going on in the country. Government is going to privatize railways. Sometimes you're getting the news, okay, yeah, they are saying that, and railway ministers several times asked in the parliament, really are you going to privatize this railway operations? But till the government is not going to announce, you will not write anywhere. If government is going to announce, yes, now railway operation privatized, then only we should write an exam. Even you are knowing from the different media, but until unless government is not notified, don't write. Yes, it's also true that government is, on the trial basis, they are doing experimental basis, they are doing in the some of the pocket of the sector, some of the area, but experimental basis. And we can't say, because IRCTC, they are running mainly this in these sectors, the railways, just in the pattern of corporate structure, just corporate pattern. But when you can say IRCTC is running, so it's privatized, no dear. You have to know IRCTC is very much integral part of the railway ministry. Here you can't say it's privatized one, but yes, they are running on the basis of that they are doing that. But till government is not announcing, please don't write anywhere railway operation is privatized. Yes, as far as infrastructure is concerned, other services are like cleaning services, food services, infrastructure development, they already privatized. Even for infrastructure, 100% is given to the FDI allowed. So you understand this, yes, but as far as operation is concerned, still it is under the public sector, that is a government kept it. Clear? Now, next you write few lines, you write. Next you can just write national manufacturing policy. Yeah, few lines only, so you should have some idea about that, right? The government of India notified a national manufacturing policy on 4th November 2011. Okay, with the objective of enhancing the share of CHARE, the share of manufacturing in GDP share of manufacturing in GDP to 25% to 25%. Okay, it provides rural youth rural youth training for skill development so that they can be absorbed in industries right. The national investment and manufacturing zones are an important instruments are an important instruments for developing manufacturing zone manufacturing base in India, right. NIMZ have been conceived as large integrated industrial townships with advanced infrastructure comma clean and energy efficient technology clean and energy efficient technology comma necessary social infrastructure national social infrastructure, etc. Okay. Yeah, SEZ, NIMZ, these two are different. It's only focusing on the manufacturing, but SEZ for both goods and services, both are allowed. It is for its target is the domestic economy as well as international. SEZ only for the international market. That is governed by the normal rules and regulations India with some incentive, but that is governed by the SEZ Act 2005. So yes, there are difference between these two. Clear, dear? Now, next you write Make in India. Just write Make in India. Okay. Now we are coming to the Make in India. Please write. Right. The government introduced Make in India, or announced, you can write, the government announced Make in India. Government of India announced the Make in India as a global initiative on 25th September 2014 on 25th September 2014 clear, to invite both domestic and foreign investors to invest in India clear here, full stop, right? The Make in India as initiative is based on four pillars which have been identified to give boost to entrepreneurship in India okay, entrepreneurship in India in manufacturing, in manufacturing sector, in manufacturing, comma services and infrastructure. Manufacturing, manufacturing, comma services and infrastructure. All the three remember, but particularly for manufacturing. All these three are there, but main focus was given to main focus is given to manufacturing. Clear? Now, right, these four pillars are, first you write new process. First you write new process. Questions? Yes. Yeah, few questions you send me. Okay, sir. Core industry is the mainly the prime industry by which effect other industry can set up. Yeah, you can set up. Means if you want to develop other industries, first you have to develop this industry. You can see these are the core industries. Without this, it's very difficult. Sir, how refinery products contribute more than crude oil? Okay. Uh, Braja, I'm not expecting this question from you. After discussing all these things, you are saying how refinery products contribute more than crude oil. Think please, are you producing crude oil? Are you producing or are you importing? That is import here, it's not the production. Refinery, when you are saying, it means you are imported and you refined within your country. So refinery, you have to consider refinery because you refined it, you produce that. There is a value additions in the domestic economy. See, India is number one in importing crude oil. But yes, also true that we have the number one goods, exported goods is your petroleum products. So we are taking refinery product, yeah. Where without crude oil we can't do anything in this region. So you got Braza, your answer. Okay, please reply. Otherwise, while categorizing of MSME, both the criteria needs to be satisfied, or any one criteria has to be. Now, today's you can say Partha ki both are eligible, both are there. Government is accepting both this. Okay, both this. Sir, what is the difference between government industry and public sector enterprise? See, there is two types. Two types you can categorize. One, which is purely under the government department. Purely under the government department. Like the earlier it was the ordnance factories. Purely under the Ministry of Defense. It is a pure the government department was controlling. But other sectors is the just like the autonomous. There is a board is there. They are deciding everything. Okay, so that you can say we can say that you. I mean, it's a BHEL. You take the example. SAIL. You can take the example. So they are the public sector enterprises. This is the difference. That is directly controlled by the government. Raja, you got your answer, or still there is a problem, dear? Okay, meanwhile you write new process. Just give the heading because four pillars I am discussing. The four pillars you just discuss. First you write new process. New process you write. Right. Just write new process. Make in India recognizes. Make in India recognizes under new process. You write. No, Subhasri, don't take it this way. You don't mean the MSME is the very small teeny units. Includes the medium one. Includes the medium one. And if you see the like what you're saying, the choosing mediocrity while the world is rushing. Well, you take the example of China. Can you say this is a statement for the Chinese economy? They've proven these things just by developing the MSME. Just by developing the MSME. So it means research and development going on, innovation is there, more job opportunities are there, they are contributing in the production process. So where is the question arising this? And it is the only way out. Only way out means this is the one of the way out that we have to choose it. Otherwise, what the problem you are facing, the jobless economic growth, you will continuing it. In that situations, you will face the higher unemployment, you will face the higher incidence of poverty. The current account deficit will be always higher, depreciation will be there, and that depreciation is going to again affect your country. So in these conditions, we can't develop this. So MSME does not mean that the laborers' wage rate will be lower. No dear. If manufacturing, the value addition is more. But one thing is there, they are also able to get the job. If you are developing, you understand one thing, if you are developing the large scale industries, mostly large scale industries are capital intensive in nature, dear. So it is not possible to go for the job opportunities in these sectors. So what you will do? What you will do? So and large scale industries, they will act as a monopoly. Then always you will face the problem what the problem you faced before your economic reforms. Even today, before this time period, you are facing this. But you have to solve out all these things. This is the good way out. Here's the way out here. Clear? Because see, development does not mean that I got use money, others are poor. Okay. Then, but you have to go in the same society. The development means the people around you, they also develop, then we can say our economy is developed. We are not using the sense of personal development. We are saying we are using the sense of economic development. Economic development means that the whole society is going to develop here. That is the sense we are using it. Never you just heard any books that is a personal development we are talking about. But yes, we can say that personal development may leads to the development of the whole the nations. But again the problem is that really others are developing or not. Okay, so you have to take very broader view. And yes, one of the things you written, I really like this word, this line. So can we consider MSME sector as safety net for rural and urban semi-skilled and unskilled labor? Yes, definitely. Because if you are able to develop the MSMEs, then MSME is going to create the job opportunities for low skilled labor and your unskilled labor also. Then they are getting the job in this. Okay, where services sector failed to create this. Most of the services which are developed in India, they only created the job opportunities for the skilled workers or skilled labor. So they got employed, their income has increased, but the other section of society, their income has declined. And that is one of the reasons that, dear, India is one of the highest income inequality country among our nation's countries. One of the reasons you can say that. Clear? Thank you, Raja. Okay, please write new process. First point. Make in India recognizes ease of doing business as the single most important factor to promote entrepreneurship in India. Okay, full stop, right? A number of initiatives have already been undertaken by the government of India to create ease of business environment, like single window clearance, like single window clearance, comma digital processing, comma faceless processing, so that bureaucratic interventions can be least, will be just right, bureaucratic intervention will be least, self-certification for startups, etc., etc. Okay, please write one more line. Government of India announced during the budget presentation of 2022-23, Government of India announced during the budget presentation of 2022-23, ease of doing part 2, full stop, right? Government realized that ease of doing business environment will attract more investors from the domestic economy as well as from abroad, from the domestic economy as well as from abroad. Clear here? Now next point you write new infrastructure, right? Government intends to develop industrial corridors. What is industrial corridors? So you take the NIMZ. So different NIMZ established or government is establishing. So the faster movement of goods, it is a necessary one for the industrial development. Faster movement of goods is very necessary for industrial development. And government has already implemented industrial corridor policy, through which under this policy the government started developing the waterways, because waterways is also one of the good way of transportation for mobilizing the voluminous things, roadways and railways. So the government has selected these three transportation system: waterways, railways and roadways, for faster movement of industrial product. So you can see that the railways, they are developing a different the separate railway lines for the faster movement of goods. Okay, there the government is broadening the number of roads, like the 4-line, 6-line like this, so that there is no obstacle for faster movement of the goods. So that's the government is implemented this policy which is known as industrial corridors, right? Industrial corridors, comma smart cities, comma create world-class infrastructure with advanced technology, okay, world-class infrastructure with advanced technology, and high-speed communication, and high-speed communication, and high-speed communication, high-speed communication. Okay, full stop. Please write. Innovation and research, in the same point, innovation and research activities are supported. Innovation and research activities are supported through fast registration system, fast registration system, and improved infrastructure for intellectuals property rights, intellectuals property right, IPR, intellectual property right registration, IPR registration. Cleared here? So that's government is doing. There's a new process they implemented. Okay. Next you write new sectors, new sectors, new sectors. Okay. See, when it was introduced in 2014, that time 25 sectors it was, but later on government keeps adding it. So I request you, please go. There is a particular website of Make in India. Just type Make in India and please go through once. Please go through once. You will get so many ideas about this. What are the sectors are there? They're chosen by the government. Okay. What are the policies they are taking it? So many additional things you will get it. Clear? So please write new sectors. Right. Make in India has identified. Make in India has identified certain sectors. Certain sectors in manufacturing. In manufacturing. Manufacturing, comma, infrastructure and services activities. Okay, full stop. Right. Okay, these are the new sectors chosen. Please read from there. Add it. New mindset, new mindset, new mindset. And when you're talking about the new mindset, it means you're just talking about the government's attitudes, government views. See, earlier, government was acting just like the controller and regulator. The earlier activities and way of working of the government was something different. They just acting just like yes, I made the policy and they wanted to regulate it. But today's the government attitudes has changed. Now government is not acting as controller and regulator but acting as a facilitator. They are coming out. They are making the partnership with the private investors, industries for development of the country. So now they started acting as a facilitator. So you can say the government has changed their mindset. Now they are not acting as a regulator and controller, but they started acting as a facilitator. So just write one more line. In order to partner, in order to partner with industry in economic development of the country, in economic development of the country, economic development of the country, government changed their role, changed their role, changed their role. And please, attitude, this word I am using it in the class, you don't use it, please. That's I used it for the understanding, but just write the role. Okay, government changed their role from controller and regulator to facilitator. Controller and regulator to facilitator. Fine. Just go through all and just tell me any doubts, any question you have, and give me 1 minute, sir. Please, any other? Now, this major part we have discussed with you. This till here. Now, few policies left: the Startup India, Stand Up India, Mudra Yojana, MSME, and any new developments. So, I'm going to give you the briefing of all these things, and after that, any developments comes, and you keep adding it. Clear? So, you know the reasons. You are knowing the reasons now. What are the reasons prevailing? The consequences of that. What is happening today in the economy? Then government policies till now, you are knowing that starting from here, you are knowing the main framework, how it's government implemented. Now you connect this, you're getting, and now you can, if any questions, they are going to have to just write accordingly. Fine. Just write a startup first, a startup. Okay. Startup scheme. Okay. See, why startup industries getting some issues and problems in particularly in India? Because earlier, before starting this scheme, the government was getting problem, not government, investor. Suppose you have a new ideas and you can set up your plant, you can establish your plant. The only problem is the fund. From where you can get the fund? Ideas you can develop, things you can develop, but how can you get the fund? If earlier you was approaching to the bank, so bank simply wants the collateral, whether you have assets or not. What is the value of your setup? Okay, you performed on the last previous years of profit or not. But problem is the similar like the condition of engineer. Suppose you completed your BTech. Take simply BTech, and suppose you fail to get job in campusing. It's very hard time they are facing it, because when you are going to apply any other company, it's suppose you fail to get job in the campusing, then when you're applying, then they are saying it's at minimum 2 years experience we need it. Now you are in the point, you are not getting job, so you are not getting experience. If you are not getting experience, then you are not getting job. So always you're staying out of the industries. It's very difficult to just enter. Similarly, earlier suppose you are not set up the plant, you don't have the industry, any units, you are not able to get the loan from the banks, because banks has to see so many things. But the government when started it, means if you just government started this scheme, the government started giving the backup collateral. So a corpus government kept with the SIDB, and now through under this scheme, seed through this amount, the government is giving you collateral to the startups to take loan from the bank and start your business. Because you have to help to them if you really want to develop the MSMEs. You have to if you really want to encourage the research and development, innovative products, you have to encourage it. So government implemented the startup schemes. Any first generation, if you want to set up your own plant, then you can take loan from the banks, you start your business. Okay, and definitely initially the government is giving you so many facilities like self certifications, because if suppose you want to set up earlier, you want to set up industry, then labor department will come, they will certify your plant is in good conditions, labor is health is good. But now that type of rigorous, I mean the strict implementation is not there. You can self certify, yes, everything is good, and the few years is given to you, you can grow and develop, and then later on they are going to control it, but initially they are giving you push to develop it. Okay, just write few lines. Government of India, first point you write, Government of India has established a fund, of funds, fund of funds for startups, fund of funds for startups, with corpus of rupees 10,000 crore, with corpus of rupees 10,000 crore, with corpus of rupees 10,000 crore to meet the funding needs of startups, to meet the funding needs of startups, to meet funding needs of the startups with SIDB, SIDBI, with SIDB. Yeah, you can write SIDB, Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI. Okay. Okay. Next point you can just write. Just keep in the point wise, so it will help you to understand, and also it will help you to revise. Right. Next point you write. Compliance regime based on self-certification. Compliance regime is based on self-certification. Self-certification. Clear? Next point you write. Startup India Hub. Startup India Hub. Startup India Hub, which create a single point of contact, which create a single point of contact for the entire startup, ecosystem, and knowledge exchange, and access to funding. Knowledge exchange, access to funding. Right. Next, rolling out of mobile app and portal. Okay, rolling out of mobile app and portal. That's government developed it, so they can interact and you can get all the information. Next point, relaxed norms of public procurement for startups. Relaxed norms of public procurement for startups. Yeah, this point you have to understand. You are creating the MSME, you are developing the MSME. MSME is going to create production potentials, but you have to search demand for them. How to create the demand? So public procurement means the different ministries, departments, institutions, they are buying the goods from the market. So you change the norms and you fix the things. A certain percentage of goods you have to buy. From the MSMEs. It made the necessary one. You have to buy it. So they're also getting demand. They're also getting the market for buying this. Clear? Now next point you write. Right. Legal support and fast tracking patent. Legal support and fast tracking patent. Legal support and fast tracking patent. So legal support and fast tracking patent. It means in India, what is happening in the patent? Suppose you are applying to any institutions and they are doing some delay, and meanwhile they got registered it. So they got your patent. So it should be the faster. Okay, faster. So we implemented this. Okay. Next point. Faster exit for startups. Faster exit means if you are not running, you are not able to run. So there is a policy, you can exit the industry. Faster exit for startups. Next, tax exemptions on capital gains. Tax exemptions on capital gains. And next you write tax exemptions to startups. Tax exemptions to startups. Okay. Again, the tax exemption for the startups, and if there is a capital gain is happening, then again it's exempted. Clear to all? Now next you write your Stand Up India scheme. That's we are talking about Stand Up India. See, word itself is saying you something. Stand up means the persons who are from the underprivileged, okay, sections or poor sections. The government is giving benefits. You stand up. So for Stand Up India schemes, the government is giving assistance to marginalized section of the society, vulnerable section of the society. You can take loan and you start your own business. Okay. That is known as a Stand Up India scheme. Please write. This scheme was launched on 5th April 2016. 5th April 2016 to promote entrepreneurship among and marginalized sections. Underprivileged section means SC, ST, you can take women's, you can just take. So government is targeting basically SC, ST and women's, right? entrepreneurships across among entrepreneurship among SC oblique ST and women. Okay, full stop, right? Government main aim, government main objective to develop business at grassroots level for economic empowerment, grassroots level for economic empowerment and job creations. Economic empowerment and job creations. Clear? Now write next point. Make it point wise. Here SC, ST and women. SC, ST and women enable them to participate. You can just write like this: SC, ST and women are allowed to participate in the economic growth of nations. In the economic growth of nations, that you can just say economic growth of the nations. Next point you write, the objective of this scheme is to facilitate bank loans between 10 lakhs and 1 crore to at least one SC or ST borrower and at least one women borrower okay, per bank branch okay, per bank branch of scheduled commercial banks for setting up a greenfield enterprise. Remember, two words we are using in the economy. One is known as greenfield investments and one is known as the brownfield investments. Greenfield investment means when you're investing just new investment, you can say just new one. Nothing is there, you invest it. So first time you are set up your industries or you are developing anything or making investment in the new things, that is known as the greenfield investments. Brownfield investment means already this industrial unit is there. You purchased and you just modified it, you updated, so we can say it's a brownfield investment. Like take the example of, suppose we have in Kolkata, one airport is there. Suppose in the future, government is going to just modify this and develop the same airport. So we can say this is a brownfield investment. But suppose government is going to set up a new airport in any other part of West Bengal, then we can say that is a greenfield investment. So here, this loan, one ST or SC and women's, when one ST or women, SC or ST one and one is women. Each branch of scheduled commercial bank has to give loan from 10 lakhs to 1 crore. Okay, but for greenfield investment, not for the brownfield investments. Clear to all? Fine. Next is the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Yeah. Next is the Mudra Yojana. Yeah, Mudra Yojana. So it is known as the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Basically, it is known as the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. You can write it PM. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, there are three types of loan. Shisu, Kishore, Tarun. And Tarun. These are the different stage, different categories: Sisu, Kishore, and Tarun. Tarun. That is up to 50,000. If you take up to 50,000, then it is the Sisu one. It is known as Sisu. Yes, 50,000 up to 5 lakhs. 50,000 and up to 5 lakhs. It is known as the Kishore one. And if Tarun above 5 lakhs and up to 10 lakhs. Yeah, you can write 5 lakhs means above 5 lakhs and up to 10 lakhs. This is there. You can write above 5 lakhs, or here better you write this word you can write, then you will not get confused. Above, and here you write above. Means up to 50,000, exact 50,000, then it's a Sisu one. Above 50,000 up to 5 lakhs is the Kishore. Above 5 lakhs and up to 10 lakhs is, you can say, Tarun. So these three different schemes is under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So just you write Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana was launched on 8th April 2015. 8th April 2015 for providing loans up to 10 lakh, up to 10 lakh, up to 10 lakhs given by commercial banks, comma RRB, small finance banks, RRB, comma small finance banks, comma MFI, microfinance institutions, and NBFCs, non-banking financial companies. Clear? So these are the overall about this industrial sector here. I request you please read. Any other things you are getting, then you can contact and discuss with me. One question Chiladitya asked, sir, I have a question regarding crowding out effect. Good. Fiscal deficit increases. Fine. Government borrows more from financial institutions. Privates have less money to borrow. Good. This lead to crowding out effect. Good. But sir, in newspaper 2-3 days ago, it was written government should not see fiscal deficit increases or not. If government invest more, private investment will also get a boost. This is confusing as high government investment. No dear. Who told you that government is just, investment, if government is investing more, then it leads to the higher fiscal deficit? It's not necessary one. Not necessary one. Government can be deficit due to two different reasons. Maybe due to the revenue expenditure, maybe due to the capital expenditure. If suppose higher fiscal deficit due to the consumption expenditure, then government is not investing and even the private sector is not able to invest. But if government is expanding more for capex means capital expenditure, for capex, that is capital expenditure. It means government investing, and where government investing in infrastructure, in the other capital formation, they are doing that, and that is going to create the complementary demand of other investments. In this way, it's right. The statement was right here. But it's not necessary that government is only getting fund from the borrowings. Government can get fund from the other sources like the taxations, the disinvestment. They are suppose something which is not able to survive. Government is selling out, so they are getting the fund. Government may invest, but even for disinvestment, for borrowings, the government is investing. So otherwise, if one point investment in the one point is going to create the demand of other sectors, other points. So in that sense, it's a good. But if suppose government deficit is there, but government generally investing or using this fund for consumption purpose, then really it's not good. Okay. Thank you, dear. Okay. Bye. Good night.